Okay, this is just a brief explanation. For starters, the video quality is strange. It's very strange. I don't know why the recording came out like this when I did it on Kick of Fusion, but it just did. And second of all, I'll be out of making videos for a while because I have to recover from my latest attack from the internet. Now that we have that out of the way, we can start the review. It's time to review Sonic Chaos / Sonic and Tails for the Sega Game Gear. What's a Game Gear, some you may ask? Well, it was a handheld console made by Sega from 1991 up until 1997, and was essentially a handheld version of the Sega Master System. However, it failed to compete with the Game Boy due to being too big, having a tiny screen, costing far more than the Game Boy, and despite having a lot more batteries than the Game Boy, it had a much shorter battery life. Despite this, the Sonic series had a lot of Game Gear support, with 12 games being released from 1991 up until 1996. Sonic Chaos, or Sonic and Tails if you prefer the Japanese title, was released in 1993 and was notable for a few things. For starters, it was the last Game Gear Sonic to have an official Master System counterpart, and it was the first handheld game where you could play as Tails, as well as the first game where you could make Tails fly. Yes, it is very limited compared to future games, but some progress is better than none. The story of Sonic Chaos is that Dr. Robotnik has stolen the Red Chaos Emerald, which for some reason has caused the other emeralds to go out of balance and into a separate dimension. And it's up to Sonic and Tails to collect the Chaos Emerald to defeat Dr. Robotnik before South Island gets blown up for whatever reason. Sonic Chaos, like the last two 8-bit Sonics, is a 2D side-scroller where the point is to get from point A to point B. The buttons 1 and 2 jump, pressing down on the D-pad while running will activate the spin dash, and holding down and hammering one of the jump buttons will activate the super spin dash. At the start of the game, you get to pick either Sonic or Tails to play as. Now when playing as Sonic, you can hold up and press one of the jump buttons to use the Super Peel Out from Sonic CD, and you also have access to a few exclusive power-ups like the Rocket Boots. When playing as Tails, you can fly when you hold up and press one of the jump buttons. The main differences between the two characters are that Sonic has 3 lives and no continues, while Tails has 5 lives and 5 continues when starting off, and only Sonic is able to go to the special stages for some bizarre reason. In order to get to the special stage, you have to collect 100 rings in a level as Sonic, then you'll be transported to the special stage. In it, you have to fly on Rocket Boots to the end of the stage in a time limit to get a Chaos Emerald. While in the special stage, you can get loads of rings to get many points and tons of lives, and when you get the Chaos Emerald, you begin the next level instead of starting from where you left off in the level you were already in. When playing through the game, I noticed that the game was a lot easier when playing as Sonic, which I found odd since Tails has more lives and continues and can even fly. Doesn't that mean he's the easier character to play as? Maybe the game was just meant for Sonic and Tails was put in for the sake of having something to talk about when promoting the game, which would make sense since Tails can't go to the special stages for some reason, and his flying is very limited, where you have to stand on a perfectly flat surface to even try to fly. You can't even do it in the air for some reason. There's also a large amount of cheap deaths from floating platforms that take you to spike pits on ceilings to loads of bottomless pits. And no, Dimps didn't develop this game before conspiracy theorists get any ideas. And the most annoying stages in this case are Electric Egg and Mecha Green Hill Zone for just being so bloody annoying. The levels are also very short, taking from 30 seconds to a minute to complete, which means that you can complete the game in around 40-ish minutes. And this is coming from someone who's kinda crap at the game. The graphics for their time are actually pretty damn good, with nice sprites and not much slowdown at all. The music, on the other hand, is incredibly forgettable, and this is really annoying since this is the Sonic series, home to some of the greatest video game music tracks in the entire multiverse. The bosses, for what they are, actually are quite inventive. For example, the first boss you have to roll into since you have a spring on top. And yes, that is incredibly easy, but I'll give Aspect credit for trying to do something different for the first boss. I also love how you get tons and tons of lives and continues in the special stages, and while the levels are short, they are fun to play through, and it's easy enough for those that are kinda crap at 2D Sonics, and the controls are fine. Sonic Chaos is an okay game with good graphics, inventive bosses, fun levels, good controls, and it's accessible. But it's let down by cheap deaths, forgettable music, and worst of all in my opinion, screwing Tails over. I give Sonic Chaos a Sonic 06, meaning that it's okay.